LADWP will plant a tree with your donation. And there's more training for teaching online. All this up next on City Beat.
Snapchat co-founder Bobby Murphy and his wife have donated a generous $5 million to the Mayor's Fund for Los Angeles. The money will fund an additional 20,000 Angelino cards, the LA City debit cards used for assistance by families with low incomes. This will increase the number of cards for people affected financially by the pandemic to 60,000. Depending on household size, the cards are given in increments of $700, $1,100, or $1,500. City Plants, in partnership with the LADWP, is offering limited free fruit and shade trees through virtual adoptions. Given out on a first-come, first-served basis, the trees are a great way to grow a healthy future for you and the community while adhering to the Safer at Home orders. Visit cityplants.org and learn how you can be part of making LA more environmentally friendly. LAUSD has announced the launch of an expanded effort to help educators become experts in online instructor training. With students learning from home, teachers are looking for the training that will help them become more proficient at engaging students and their families with online learning. Nearly all teachers are taking these steps.
Unite Here Local 11 and USC Hospitality are ramping up free meals for LA seniors. The collaboration is answering the call from Mayor Eric Garcetti to increase the number of meals getting to LA's most vulnerable population.
Last week, Mayor Garcetti announced his partnership with the Hospitality Training Academy and Unite Here Local 11 to start this program called Serving Our Community.
So today we're feeding seniors in a partnership with the city.
Really excited that we got to launch and kick things off here with our partners at USC today.
We're producing 5 different meals for 2 separate deliveries, so the seniors are getting 10 meals a week.
When all these things started, I say, what can I do to help? It makes me feel very proud,
We want to be part of the community. It feels great to be part of the process to help the most vulnerable.
It's really important for us to be able to help those that are in need. It's the right thing to do.
They have no family, they have no strength to go out, so they have to be safe at home.
As a union, we've always believed in the power of coming together when things get difficult, and so I believe this is one of those instances, right, where we're coming together with our community, with our workers, with our employers, right, with the city to really say we need to step up and someone needs to provide these services, and so it just makes me really proud.
So currently we're doing 8,000 meals a week, and logistically it's a challenge, but we make do.
That other cities and other counties look at LA and make it a model to follow.
At the beginning of the pandemic emergency, LA residents saw an inexplicable run on toilet paper. You remember that. These days, there is a scarcity of items that are actual necessities: face masks and hand sanitizer. But don't worry, because 3 businesses in Boyle Heights have banded together to hook you up for free. Take a look.
Today we're giving back to the community that supported us for over 122 years by giving out 10,000 masks to the general public to help promote safety and health. We're an industrial distributor. We were founded in 1898 by my great-grandfather, and our original location was in downtown Los Angeles on 3rd and Main, and we moved over here in 1964 and been here ever since. We're doing it in partnership with Imprex Fabric, a local company that makes fabric face masks, and Suka Hill Distillery, which makes some of the hand sanitizer that we distribute to our customers.
I'm just helping out my team, giving out all the free masks for the community. It's a team effort. From the guys shipping and receiving, the guys on the back, our office as well, just promoting the mask and what we're doing today. A lot of people don't have money to go and buy the masks, or they don't know how to get them because all the supplies are going to the hospitals. So actually we're able to, to do that for them, for our community, for free.
Get out the word that wearing a mask in public isn't a bad thing, it's a good thing. It might not completely stop COVID, but it'll help slow it down and give our medical workers a little bit of an ease. But in general, we're trying to do a good thing for the community.
Volunteers at the West Valley YMCA did their best to restore some semblance of normality for their members. They celebrated the 30th annual Healthy Kids Day with a goodie bag drive-through.
We've been hosting Healthy Kids Day around the nation for over 25 years, and today it's a little bit different. Obviously, we're shut in, we're not doing the normal regimen of activities and fun, healthy games, but we're still honoring Healthy Kids Day. And so today here at the West Valley YMCA, we're providing a healthy grab bag of items, recipes, games for kids, little items that they can take home and they can actually use and play with. We have some virtual content on our website held this morning. We also have 50 free LA Galaxy soccer jerseys. One of our partners, the LA Galaxy, the LA Kings, and the LA Clippers, are mission partners of the YMCA.
For them to open up their doors and allow us to just drive by, get some special little treats, and just keep our energy and spirits up.
Here to pick up stuff that we can't really find in stores anymore because people are just trying to take all of it for themselves. They're trying to take more that they even need.
The YMCA has always represented family and community for us, even as adults growing up.
6 weeks ago, we had to close the doors of the YMCA. That's just not something that happened, that's ever happened. Certainly in 30 plus years of my career, I never could have imagined this time frame and this day. But we've pivoted, we've looked at different services to help the community. The YMCA stays committed and is strong to our mission. Although we're not open, we will be open one day soon, and we'll go back to doing all the fantastic things we've been known for doing in our community across this nation. But we can't wait to see everybody again.
Thank you, YMCA.
Hey, we love you.
We love you.
Businesses of all types have adapted their equipment and materials and found ways to repurpose them in service of combating COVID-19. From food deliveries to online teaching to manufacturing much-needed personal protective gear. But for places like the North Hollywood Interfaith Food Pantry, the first order of business has always been providing a few extra groceries for anyone in need.
Our food pantry has been serving the community for 37 years.
It began with a group of 5 women from 5 different congregations. The ideal, the hope was that we could eliminate hunger here in the East San Fernando Valley.
Basically, whether it's through the economic recession, or it's going through an earthquake in 1994, or it's going through the homeless crisis, or it's going through a global pandemic, we are here to serve and bridge the gap where social services doesn't meet the streets.
We continue to serve during COVID.
I set up the operation like a drive-through.
We didn't have drive-through before.
The clients are able to get their food without interacting with the volunteers.
Simply you pop the trunk and we'll come around or put it in the back seat.
All of our employees are washing hands, wearing masks, wearing gloves.
I have a son and a family just like the people that might be in fear of coming here. So my safety is important to me as their safety is to them.
We're serving the community twice a week, Mondays and Fridays.
half of the food that comes out of this place basically comes from the neighborhoods and the model that we set up. But what's different about the pandemic and why it's more difficult is because the supply is gone now. It was a symbiotic relationship between the neighborhood and the general business locally, but all of that is flattened.
You can donate via our website, nhifp.org.
We're here, we've been here for 37 years, we've never turned anybody away.
Thank you to our awesome new group of volunteers that are enabling us to be the little pantry that can.
Please volunteer. It's a gift that these people are giving us, our clients. We are not giving to them, they are giving to us. They're sharing their lives with us.
Well, it's that time of year where LA City plans its budget for fiscal 2021, but there is no such thing as business as usual these days. Fortunately, I'm joined by Councilman Paul Krikorian, who is the chair of the Finance and Budget Committee, and he can walk us through how things are going to work this year.
In a city of our size, obviously the budget is an exceptionally complex beast. The biggest revenue sources that the city has are property tax, sales tax, our business tax, and the temporary occupancy tax that comes from hotel stays.
Well, what a difference a year makes. Last year, the city basically celebrated eliminating any kind of structural deficits. It was in a really good, solid fiscal position, great reserve fund, and this is a different realm right now. So what are some of the key changes?
In this unprecedented environment that the country, the world is in because of COVID-19, there's tremendous unpredictability about this budget. I've been budget chair now for 8 years, and even when we were still in the Great Recession, there has never been a time like this where our revenues are so unpredictable, our expenses are so unpredictable, what support we may get or not get from the federal government in terms of stimulus and other things, completely unpredictable. And we usually have a very precise method of predicting revenues based on historical experience.
Sure.
We can just shred all that historical experience and throw it out the window right now because we're in uncharted territories. So the mayor's budget proposal is appropriately extremely conservative. He's projecting revenue growth of less than 2%, whereas in recent years we've been projecting over 5% annual growth, and that makes a great deal of difference in our budget because, as I mentioned, most of our revenue sources are economically sensitive.
Sure.
When there's economic growth, we get a lot more sales tax. Property tax goes up. The businesses have more gross receipts. There's more gross receipts tax. People are traveling, so we get our hotel tax. People are building things, so they're paying permit fees. All of those things happen when there's a vibrant economy. When there's not a vibrant economy, and when we're facing the economic catastrophe that the world is facing right now, all of those revenue sources decline dramatically. If there's any good news in the budget this year, it's that in the time that I've been budget chair for the last 8 years, we have methodically built up the largest reserve fund in the history of the city of Los Angeles. We started the Budget Stabilization Fund under my chairmanship, first time we've ever had one. So those two things taken together give us the ability to ride out downturns in the economy.
Councilman Krikorian, thank you for all you do, and I wish you a world of luck, and I will stay optimistic with you.
Thank you very much.
Take in a theater performance via podcast. See how a local museum ups its online game. Or watch a design festival that makes its virtual debut. All this up next on Virtual Things to Do. LA Theater Works has a plethora of podcasts waiting for you. LATW's audio plays bring you comedies, dramas, classics, and contemporary works, all with top-name writers and performers. This includes the Relativity series of science-themed plays, with lead funding provided by the Alfred P. Sloan Foundation, bridging science and the arts in the modern world. Be sure to check out the great audio entertainment available from LA Theater Works. Visit latw.org/podcasts. The Los Angeles Municipal Art Gallery wants you to stay connected, feel joy, and experience wonder through their new website, La Mag at Home. As part of this new virtual programming, La Mag is creating new content that will be available at lamag.org and across all of their social media platforms. Content includes digital programs with artists from past exhibitions, art-making activities, a series dedicated to La Mag's extensive education archives, artist resources, and more. Check out the LA Municipal Art Gallery's new online offerings at lamag.org. Virtual Design Festival is the world's first online design festival. This virtual extravaganza features a rolling schedule of interviews, movies, product launches, live streams, and collaborations. Over 35 architects and designers from around the world were invited to send self-recorded video messages to share with fellow designers and the world. This collection of videos was edited to a soundtrack by Los Angeles songwriter and musician Beatty Wolf. The Virtual Design Festival is running from the 15th of April to the 30th of June. Visit dezeen.com/VDF. And that's a look at some virtual things to do. Here at Channel 35, we stay committed to bringing you the best information possible during the COVID-19 outbreak. Remember that you can sign up with Notify LA to receive emergency alerts. To sign up, just text your zip code to 888-777. You can also find reliable information about the resources available from the City of Los Angeles at these websites: publichealth.lacounty.gov, coronavirus.lacity.org, or at emergency.lacity.org. That's it for this edition. I'm Maria Hall Brown. From all of us here at LA This Week, thanks for joining us. See you next time for more LA This Week.
Think you know LA? Experience different locations and events that make LA next level extraordinary.
Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Los Angeles City Council. Today is Tuesday, May 12th. I'm Nori Martinez, the President of the City Council. With me in council chambers are essential staff only. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Blumenfield.
Blumenfield present.
Bonin.
Bonin present.
Buscaino.
Present.
Cedillo.
Cedillo present.
Harris Dawson.
Harris Dawson here.
Weezer.
Okay, yours should be good here. See, it says because you're logged in.
Councilmember Weezer.
So I'll let you.
Koretz.
Present.
Krikorian. Councilmember Krikorian.
Here.
Lee.
Present.
Martinez.
Present.
O'Farrell.
I am present.
Price.
Present.
Rodriguez.
Here.
Rue.
Here. Here.
Wesson.
Weston here.
14 members and a quorum, Madam President.
First order of business.
Approval of the May 6, 2020 minutes.
Mr. Rue moves and Mr. Cedillo seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Harris Dawson moves and Mr. Wesson seconds. Next.
Madam President, today is Tuesday and time for the flag salute.
Mr. Wesson. Mr. Weston, would you lead us in the flag salute this morning?
Okay, so everybody would please rise, put your right hand over your heart, repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, let's run through the agenda.
Madam President, would council like all items to go forthwith today?
Without objection, that will be the order. What's next?
Madam President, there is a request to continue item 1A through K to,
Yes, this cannot start video.
to June 23rd, 2020.
Okay, without objection, that will be the order. What's next?
Item 1 is an item notice for public hearing. Items 2 through 27 are items which public hearings have not been held. Items 28 through 34 are closed session items waived from Budget and Finance Committee. 10 votes are required for consideration.
So without objection, those items are not before us. Members, we're going to call the roll and ask that if any of you want to call any of these items special or you have an amending motion, you say so at this time. So Madam Clerk, let's go ahead and call the roll.
Blumenfield.
I'd like to call item 1F as in Frank special.
What item is
to continue
Embrace LA?
Mr. Blumenfield, can you repeat that one more time?
Yes, I'd like to call item 1F as in Frank special to ask that we continue it until June 16th. Building and Safety is working with the property owner on that issue.
Okay, Mr. Blumenfield, all of item 1 has been continued.
Okay.
Any other items?
No, that's it. Thank you.
For clarification, 1A through K is continued to June 23rd, 2020. Next is Council Member Bonin.
No specials from me today. Thank you.
Buscaino.
No specials. Thank you.
Cedillo. Councilmember Cedillo. Harris Dawson.
No specials, thank you.
No specials, Madam Clerk, thank you.
Councilmember Weezar.
No specials, thank you.
Koretz.
No specials or amendments, thank you.
Krikorian.
Nothing for me, thank you.
Lee. Councilman.
Yes. Can I call, thank you, Madam President, item number 17, special, please?
Okay, 17 special. Councilmember Lee, is 17, is there an amendment associated with this?
No, there's not.
Okay. Martinez.
I have none, Madam Clerk. Thank you.
O'Farrell.
I'd like to hold item 6 on the table for an amendment, please.
Price.
I'd like to continue item 26, please. 26, continue to tomorrow.
Continue item 26 to May 13, 2020. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Rodriguez.
Nothing.
Root.
No specials.
Wesson.
No.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Members, at this time, we're going to move on to public comment. Madam Clerk, can you please read out the call-in information for those that would like to speak on any item on today's agenda?
As indicated on the agenda, members of the public wishing to offer public comment should call area code 669-900-6833 and use meeting ID number 459-499-150 and then press the pound sign. Then press pound again when prompted for participant ID. Let me repeat. Call 669-900-6833 and use meeting ID number 459-499-150 and then press pound again when prompted for participant ID.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. City Attorney, would you please explain the speaking rules to the members of our public that wish to speak today?
Yes. Thank you, Madam President. To members of the public calling in, when it is your turn to speak, please state which of the agenda items you would like to speak on. You have 1 minute per item to speak, 1 minute per item to speak, up to 3 minutes total, and if you wish, 1 minute for general public comment. We will tell you when your time is up. When speaking on the agenda items, you must be on topic. Our goal is to get through as many speakers as we can. If you are not speaking on topic, or if we can't tell whether you're speaking on an agenda item, you will get one brief warning from me or the President. If you do not immediately and clearly get on topic or again stray off topic, the President will cut you off and you will forfeit the remainder of your speaking time. We will move on to the next speaker. We will take 60 minutes total of public comment, assuming there are that many people to speak. And finally, for members of the public calling in to speak, if you're also listening to the council meeting on your computer or on a speakerphone, as soon as you hear someone address you, please turn down the volume on those devices immediately. There's a time lag between the live council meeting and what you'll hear on your computer or the speaker, and it will cause confusion. So please, again, mute your other devices immediately.
Madam President, apologies. It has come to our attention that Mr. O'Farrell has an amendment that has to be read into the record prior to public comment. Mr. O'Farrell, will you please read your amendment?
Yes, thank you. Happy to. So on item 6, I'd like to approve the HSID report and note and file the mayor's report, please.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'm sorry. And
No, sorry, Madam Clerk.
oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay, is that it? Okay, let's go ahead and open up the line so we can take the first speaker.
Please state your name and what item you'd like to speak on. Please state your name and what item you'd like to speak on. Please state your name and what item you'd like to speak on. Please state your name and what item you'd like to speak on.
And I'm to speak on the customs extension at Signature Flight Support at the Van Nuys Airport.
So you want to speak on one item?
That is correct.
Okay, you have 1 minute. Go ahead.
Yes, hello, thank you. I'm Tony Marlowe, the president of Castle and Cook Aviation, and I'd like to let the council know that I am in support of an extension to Signature's agreement for the Customs and Border Patrol services at the Van Nuys Airport. It's a vital service for the base tenants at my location, provides efficient clearance for these aircraft that will end up in Van Nuys anyway, and avoids extra emissions and extra flying time and extra congestion at other LA area airports. I appreciate your consideration for an extension of their agreement. Thank you very much.
Please state your name and what item you'd like to speak on.
I'm Tom Materna, item 13, the Customs Office.
Go ahead. You have 1 minute to speak on item 13.
Hello, I'm Tom Materna, a Sherman Oaks resident on number 13. International flights at Van Nuys add noise, pollution, and likely spread coronavirus as no health screening protocols are followed. Please move all international flights to LAX. Conduct a CEQA EA study with community input. The task force recommends a reduction of this customs office as it adds to late night noise and air traffic. A reasonable and convenient alternative exists for international passengers cargo at LAX, where the customs infrastructure is more robust and better suited relative to security, health screenings, and round-the-clock operations. Plus, in this time of city budget deficits, the city will benefit from collecting of international arrival fees that now go to a private business, not the city when they land at Van Nuys. Air operators at Van Nuys should look to be better neighbors with their surrounding community by focusing their business models on domestic operations that won't further add negative impacts to the risks already being experienced by the residents due to Van Nuys.
Thank you. Your time is up. Thank you.
Item 13.
Please state your name and what item you'd like to speak on.
Kurt Castagna, item 20-0538, number 13.
Okay, go ahead. You've got 1 minute to speak on item 13.
Good morning, Madam President, members of the City Council. Kurt Castagna on behalf of the Van Nuys Airport Association. I'd like to speak today in favor of this item and ask your support, given the fact that it's vital to eliminating noise in the LA basin and allowing operations for customs clearances to take place at Van Nuys directly, as you've heard from other speakers. For clarification, this item does not come at any taxpayer expense, and the revenues that are collected there go to pay for Custom and Border Patrol officers directly. We feel that this item has been a very extensive service that's beneficial to the city of Los Angeles, and in this time of the COVID issues is very vital to the economic recovery as well, to the jobs and business activity in the San Fernando Valley. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Please state your name and what item you'd like to speak on. Please state your name and what item you'd like to speak on.
My name is Brad Wright. I am the Chief Financial Officer of Clay Lacy Aviation, and I am speaking in support of item number 13.
Go ahead, sir. You've got 1 minute to speak on item 13. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President. Clay Lacy Aviation, which has been the longest-standing tenants at Van Nuys Airport, clearly supports the resolution or motion to extend the CBP expense reimbursement agreement between LAWA and Signature Flight Support. Ever since the reintroduction of the CBP facilities to Van Nuys, which was the direct result of the collaborative efforts undertaken by LAWA and the principal tenants at Van Nuys, this arrangement has performed flawlessly for approximately the past 5 years. Given the overall positive response by the Van Nuys Airport community to the manner in which Signature has performed in its on-site administrative and management capacity, we believe that the proposed action to extend the reimbursement arrangement period is well warranted and deserved. We are pleased to support LAWA and Signature Flight Support in this regard and request that you approve this arrangement. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Please state your name and what item you'd like to speak on.
Hi, my name is Rob Kwan, and I'd like to speak on item 17 and general public comment.
Okay, you've got 2 minutes for your items and 1 minute for general public comment. Go ahead.
Thank you. So item 17 relates to the Sunshine Canyon landfill. I just think it's interesting that we're appointing somebody that doesn't even live in the city of LA. Apparently her only connection to the city of LA is that she's donated twice to Stafford B, aka John Lee. All just really weird given the current circumstances, given your former boss is going to be pleading guilty on June 4th. And this council keeps on proceeding with business as usual. And I really don't think we need to, fault to the refrain of throwing you all out. I like to think that I'm trying to help you. But really, I don't know what other option we got when this council has done nothing to address the systemic corruption that pervades LA City Hall. I really hope that this council wakes up to that. If you don't, you can thank your former council president because he did do at least a few good things, increasing turnout, giving us a robust matching fund system, which is going to provide a whole hell of a lot more competitive electoral landscape. So good riddance. I mean, if you're really not going to wake up to the writing on the wall, the systemic corruption with 3 corruption investigations into City Hall, I don't know what to tell you. Thank you.
He hung up.
I really hope that
Please state your name and what
Hello?
item you'd like to speak on.
You can. Hello?
Yes, please state your name and what item you'd like to speak on.
My name is Eric Previn. I'd like to speak on item 1, 17, the closed session items, and a general public comment as well.
Okay, you have 3 minutes for all items.
And
1
25.
minute-
And 25.
Yeah.
Okay.
And 1 minute for general public comment. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. And good morning, Council President and other council who I assume are listening, not making little discussions under separate cover. Because that's what we're a little bit concerned of during these audio meetings where you can't really tell what's happening in the room. But Embrace LA is a lovely idea. This was the one where Council President Wesson of CD10 at the time decided to put people together at dinner tables all over town, which served his political needs as well as the nice gesture behind it. Now he's breaking that money, that's $670,000, up into two piles. One, he's going to push out the door to Community Build, a nonprofit provider, and the second chunk, $370,000, goes to a group called Mothers in Action, which I think it's important that we tag as a Danny Bakewell-sponsored not-for-profit, who get a lot of the residual upside that gets expressed during Taste of Soul, the world's greatest street fair in South Los Angeles, which we all approve of. It's just that the idea of paying public money to that kind of a thing for the public to participate by getting our DWP and others out there is unthinkable, and that needs to change. I also want to draw attention to the fact that Millie Jones out in CD12, this is not an appropriate placement. John Lee and Mitchell Englander and that group out there, you know, this has been one of the great highway robberies of the public by having those two, the special election on the heels of Englander stepping off, that was just whittled into the long period before the second election, and it cost us a lot of money, millions of dollars. And you know, it never should have happened because there should have been a placeholder. It should have been Bernsen, who shuffled over to the Office of Finance. Nicole Bernsen had been there for 8 years. But instead, we had these expensive elections that were quasi-predetermined. You saw how close it was, but nothing ultimately happened. In terms of the City Council's closed sessions, this is unthinkable that we would be paying a lot of money for a pedestrian accident, but that's what happens in a city where the failure to correct. But I don't understand. Have you announced these settlements? Because I've been listening and I've not heard any terms. So it's a little awkward to be giving a public comment without hearing the terms. I know Stefan Faubel is a thought leader on rejecting public input on legal settlements, but the public does have a say, and we do care because trip and falls and car accidents directly impact us. We are facing now, if you've been listening to Councilmember Krikorian's budget hearings, historically grim times, and there are going to have to be sacrifices. So, you know, like with, as an example, as I head into my general public comment, Sheriff Villanueva's group, who inappropriately took photographs at the Kobe Bryant helicopter crash. It's not appropriate for Kobe Bryant's wonderful wife to sue the county for money. If she wants some other kind of relief, it's fine. But the county, the city, we are all...
Mr. Previn, you can move on to your general public comment now.
Can't keep robbing the public coffers, and we have to share the wealth with the people who are in most need. So, am I still on the line, or have you disconnected me?
No, you're on general public comment now.
Okay, fine. Oh, now I'm on my general public comment. Okay. Well, my general public comment, I would like to focus on the budget hearings themselves, because every year the county and city have to approve their big budgets. The city does it in a way that is unthinkable. They decide, rather than hearing public comments on each of the 18 or 25 departments, whichever it is, which is an appropriate idea. Parks and Rec has a set of issues, public has a thought, move forward. They do it, you have 1 minute to speak on all of the departments in the world. This is illogical, insane, and makes no sense whatsoever. Now, Councilmember Krikorian and the thought leaders who call it their existing practice have been warned, and I'm urging you to break the budget hearing into discrete parts. I know that he's very proud, people are very proud that the budget hearings have been reduced to by, 5 times.
Thank you, Mr. Previn. Your time is up. Thank you, sir.
Several.
Please state your name and what item you'd like to speak on.
Eric Hill, item 13.
Okay, you have 1 minute, sir, to speak on that item. Go ahead.
Yes, my name is Eric Hill from Signature Flight Support, and referencing the item 13, which is the reimbursement agreement between LAWA and Signature Flight Support for the Customs and Border Protection facility at Van Nuys. Just wanting to urge your vote in passing this item, which is strictly a agreement which allows us to work on behalf of the CBP and LAWA to collect the agreed fees at that airport and to pass those fees along to LAWA and to pay the respective operating costs from CBP. This is just an extension of the current agreement, which has worked very well, and we would like to continue the ability of local operators to use this service and bypass doing double trips out of LAX and going over the mountain into Van Nuys. Thank you for your time.
Please state your name and what item you'd like to speak on.
My name is Jacqueline Lang in the city of Encino, and I'm speaking on item number 13.
Go ahead, you have 1 minute.
Thank you. Hi, I am a resident of Encino in District 5, and I'm not shocked that there have been many call-ins by the airport operators regarding the custom office extension. However, it may not be known that the residents of this area have never had an ability to discuss this item. It was never on any Citizens Advisory Committee agenda. And I just don't understand why it says there were no community impact statements submitted, because we've never had an opportunity to submit one. So I am asking that you please postpone this vote on item number 13 until we have an ability to voice our opinions, and we have some very strong opinions. So I'm asking that you postpone this vote today until the communities that are affected have a chance to weigh in. Thank you.
Please state your name and what item you'd like to speak on.
This is John V. from Encino. And item number 13, customs, is what I'd like to speak on.
Okay, you have 1 minute. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, while as residents, we don't have the lobbying influence nor PR staff like the air operators seeking your approval do, hopefully you'll give our grassroots opposition a fair and equal hearing. As you deliberate, please consider these 5 points. LAWA seems to have pushed this motion through at the last minute to avoid public scrutiny and has kept it hidden for months from neighborhood councils and the Van Nuys Citizens Advisory Committee, while fully aware that this raises significant community concerns. Given the facts, the CEQA CADEX approval goes against the city's contract extension guidelines for such matters. Much has changed since the project's initial screen in 2014, including next-gen Santa Monica closure, expanded Van Nuys facilities, pandemics, etc., and EA is required. 3, the city is foregoing much-needed revenue by enabling charter operators to avoid landing fees associated with clearance at LAX. Essentially, they're getting a special arrangement at Van Nuys that helps boost their profits to the detriment of the community's stability, health, and safety. 4, LAWA is well aware of their planned night curfew activity that the citizens pushed, and the task force currently focused on that over months, yet none of that language is in this amendment anywhere that we can see. And 5, LAWA's no action alternative calls for the closing of the customs office.
Thank you, sir. Your time is up. Thank you.
Please state your name and what item you'd like to speak on.
I'd like to speak on what's the item number? Council File 20-0538.
Okay, you have 1 minute to speak on that item. Go ahead.
International flights at Van Nuys add noise pollution, and they're likely to be a health risk in the current pandemic, as no health screening protocols are followed. Please move all international flights to LAX and conduct a CEQA EA study with community input. The task force recommends reduction of this customs office hours as it adds to late night noise and air traffic, but I don't think that's enough. A reasonable and convenient alternative already exists for international passengers and cargo to go to LAX, where the customs infrastructure is more robust and better suited relative to security, health screenings, and round-the-clock operations. Plus, in this time of city budget deficits, the city will benefit from the collection of international arrival fees that now go to a private business, not the city where they land at Van Nuys. Air operators at Van Nuys should look to be better neighbors with the surrounding communities by focusing their business models on domestic operations that won't further add to the negative impacts and risks already being experienced by residents due to the Van Nuys airport flight activity. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Please state your name and what item you'd like to speak on. Please state your name and what item you'd like to speak on.
Sure. Stuart Waldman from VICA, items 13, 17, 22, and general comments.
Mr. Wallman, you can go ahead. You have 3 minutes on all your items and your 1 minute of general public comment. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Stuart Waldman, President of the Valley Industry and Commerce Association, VICA. Calling to support item 13, the Customs and Border Patrol at Van Nuys Airport was a long fought for project that helped Van Nuys Airport and actually reduced air traffic because people were flying to LAX to clear customs, then coming to Van Nuys. Signature has done a great job, as have all the airport operators. This is something that's needed. It's going to take a while for everyone to come back, but we need to support this and move forward with it and continue, rather. This is something that's been happening for a while. On item 17, I've known Millie Jones for quite some time. She's been a long-time dedicated public servant who cares about her community, having worked for Mike Antonovich for 11 years. VICA met with her often, and she was always very thoughtful and understanding and compassionate. On item 22, we support street banners. We think that Councilmember Rue is right and that Ventura Boulevard is the right place for it, and we support him. And in terms of general comment, I want to again thank Council President Martinez for her leadership through these trying times. I want to thank all the council members and everything that they do. Watching on Facebook, it's not easy, but you see council members and their staff helping feed people, thanking our nurses, getting PPE, doing things to move the city forward. While I don't agree with all the policies that have gone forth, I do appreciate everything that all of you are doing, and especially the staff who are working very hard to make things happen. So thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Wallman. Members, that concludes speakers for today's meeting. So we're going to go ahead and close public comment, including general public comment. Madam Clerk, can you please read the settlement agreements for the closed session items?
Certainly. But before we begin, there is a request to hold item 31 on the desk. And now I will read the settlement amounts. Item number 28, in the case entitled Ronnie Burns versus City of Los Angeles et al., there is a recommendation to expend up to $250,000 in settlement. Item number 29, in the case entitled Ramona Curry et al. Versus City of Los Angeles, there is a recommendation to expend up to $385,000 in settlement. Item 30, in the case entitled Moshe Erez versus City of Los Angeles, there is a recommendation to expend up to $135,000 in settlement. Item 31, in the case entitled Jennifer Knopp, Kevin Knopp versus City of Los Angeles and Joshua Willis, there is a recommendation to expend up to $1,575,897.24 in settlement. Item 32, in the case entitled Robert Coolidge versus City of Los Angeles et al., there is a recommendation to expend up to $2 million in settlement. Item 33, in the case entitled Alice Ochoa versus Jorge L. Quirez et al., there is a recommendation to expend up to $200,000 in settlement. Finally, item 34, in the case entitled Mario Ramirez versus City of Los Angeles et al., there is a recommendation to expend up to $120,000 in settlement.
Okay, Mr. Gregorian, did you want to add anything to these items?
Madam President, Budget and Finance waived all of these matters in order to get them before Council. They do, all of them other than item 29 are personal injury cases, some of them significant, but they appear to be the sort of routine things that we consider. So I can't speak on behalf of Budget and Finance, but they do all appear to be the sorts of settlements that we routinely approve. I think that can be done in open session unless members have questions or concerns, including item 29, which is a fair employment and housing.
Okay, members, are there any questions? Mrs. Rodriguez?
Yes, Madam President, I need to recuse myself on item 31.
Okay, yeah, we're holding that on the desk for that reason. Any other questions? Okay, let's go ahead and vote on some items, Madam Clerk.
Madam President, those items are 2 through 5, 7 through 16, 18 through 25, 27 through 30, 32 through 34.
Let's go ahead and call the roll.
Blumenfield.
Up there all dutied up and da-da-da.
Blumenfield, aye.
Bonin.
Bonin, aye.
Buscaino.
Aye.
Cedillo. Councilmember Cedillo. Harris Dawson.
Harris Dawson, yes.
Sorry.
Okay, Councilmember Cedillo is a yes. Okay. Councilmember Weezer.
Yes.
Koretz.
Yes.
Krikorian.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
O'Farrell.
Aye.
Price.
Aye.
Rodriguez.
Aye.
Rue.
Aye.
Wesson.
Wesson, aye.
15 ayes. These items are adopted.
Okay, members, let's go ahead and move on to item number 6 as amended by Mr. O'Farrell. Let's go ahead and vote on that item. Please call the roll.
Blumenfield.
Blumenfield, aye.
Bonin.
Bonin, aye.
Buscaino.
Buscaino, aye.
Cedillo.
Cedillo, aye.
Harris Dawson.
Harris Dawson, yes.
Weezer.
Yes.
Koretz.
Aye.
Krikorian.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
O'Farrell.
Aye.
Price.
Aye.
Rodriguez.
Aye.
Rue.
Aye.
Wesson.
Wesson, aye.
15 ayes. This item is adopted as amended.
Okay, members, let's move on to item 17 called special by Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee?
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, before us, is the Sunshine Canyon appointment to the local enforcement agency. As we all know, the Sunshine Canyon landfill handles 8,300 tons of waste per day. And the LEA serves the important function of ensuring that regulations are adhered to at this facility. They have the primary responsibility for ensuring that the operation of this waste facility follows all of the state guidelines. And before us is the appointment of Ms. Millie Jones, who has served Council District 12 for decades, has extensive knowledge of this landfill, and you will not find someone more dedicated to public service than Ms. Jones. And I urge and I vote appointing her to this important oversight board. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Let's go ahead and prepare to vote on item 17. Call the roll.
Blumenfield.
Blumenfield, aye.
Bonin.
Bonin, aye.
Buscaino,
Aye.
Cedillo, Harris Dawson,
Harris Dawson, yes.
Weezer,
Yes.
Koretz,
Aye.
Krikorian,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Martinez,
Aye.
O'Farrell,
Aye.
Price,
Aye.
Rodriguez,
Aye.
Rue,
Aye.
Wesson.
Wesson, aye.
15 ayes, this item is adopted.
Okay, let's move on to item 31. Ms. Rodriguez has asked to be recused from this item.
Blumenfield,
Blumenfield, aye.
Bonin,
Bonin, aye.
Buscaino,
Aye.
Cedillo,
Aye.
Harris Dawson,
Harris Dawson, yes.
Weezer,
Yes.
Koretz,
Yes.
Krikorian,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Martinez,
Aye.
O'Farrell,
Aye.
Price.
Aye.
Councilmember Rodriguez is recused. Next, Rue,
Aye.
Wesson.
Aye.
14 ayes, this item is adopted.
Okay, members, let's move on to any verbal motions that you wish to introduce. If you can please raise your
Property in this environment?
If you can raise your hand, let me know if you wish to introduce a verbal motion. Mr. Buscaino, your virtual hand will do. Go ahead, Mr. Buscaino.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to move that $10,000 in the Harbor Division Police Assistant Trust Fund, number 888-14, be allocated to the Harbor Community Police Advisory Board for the purchase of 4 ATVs for the use of LAPD Harbor Division. I also further move that the city clerk be directed, authorized to prepare and execute the necessary documents with and or payment to Harbor Community Police Advisory Board or any other agency or organization as appropriate in the above amount, for the above purpose, subject to the approval of the city attorney as to form if needed. I further move that the city clerk be authorized to make any corrections, clarifications, or revisions to the above fund transfer instructions, including any new instructions in order to effectuate the intent of this motion, including any corrections and changes to fund or account numbers. Said corrections, clarifications, changes may be made orally, electronically, or by any other means.
Second.
Thank you.
Seconded by Ms. Rodriguez. Any other verbal motions? If you can please raise your verbal hand so I can see who wants to speak next. Okay, Madam Clerk, you want to read some verbal motions?
Yes, I have 3 additional verbal motions. The first is a resolution introduced by Councilmember Rue, and that is to resolve to, by adoption of the resolution, to include in the 2019-20 state legislative program opposition to AB 3116 Irwin that would remove a local jurisdiction's ability to effectively regulate new mobility devices operating on public streets. This resolution would be referred to the Rules Committee. Is there a second for this?
Second by Harris Dawson.
Thank you. The third motion introduced verbally by Councilmember Rodriguez. This is to be referred to the Budget and Finance Committee. And this is to authorize the Chief of Police or his designee to amend the professional services agreement with Aon Nexus Corporation, contract number C-133408, to increase the maximum compensation limit to 1.5 million and add the DDRHP module to the CRM platform. A second for this motion?
I'll second it.
Second.
Thank you.
Got three of them there.
And the third motion introduced verbally by Councilmember Rue. This is to be referred to the Energy and the Personnel and Animal Welfare Committees. This is to instruct the CLA with the assistance of the City Health Commission, the County Department of Public Health, and the Southern California Air Quality Management District to report back on the health and economic costs associated with ozone-related, carbon monoxide-related, and PM 2.5 related adverse health effects on residents in the city.
Second, Koretz.
And the seconder would be Koretz. There are several other moving clauses. The next one is to report back on the feasibility of implementing a remote work, telecommute, or staggered workday program. The third is to report back with an analysis and cost comparison of providing traditional on-site office space versus remote off-site office space. The next is to report back on any financial or fiscal mechanisms the city can employ to incentivize private businesses to adopt remote work telecommuting programs. And the last is to report back on the availability of any federal, state, or local funds for these programs. And again, this was presented by Councilmember Rue and seconded by Councilmember Koretz.
Any other verbal motions? Okay, seeing none. What is next, Madam Clerk?
Those motions will be posted online and referred, and that clears the desk, Madam President.
Okay, posted and referred. Members, are there any announcements before we get to adjourning motions?
No.
Mr. Blumenfield, you have an announcement, sir? Go ahead.
I do. I want to announce that tomorrow we'll be holding the first online exhibit for the Jewish American Heritage Month. Along with Mr. Rue and Mr. Koretz, we're having our third annual exhibit. However, this year it is going to be done virtually. The theme is LA Hayim, the Sephardic and Mizrahi Jewish roots of Los Angeles. So if you want to check it out, go to jahm-la.com. And that of course stands for Jewish American Heritage Month, jahm-la.com. Thanks.
Members, are there any other announcements? Seeing none, I'm going to go to Mr. Koretz, do you have an announcement?
I just wanted to add to the comments that Mr. Blumenfield made, that especially now as we're seeing anti-Semitism creeping in during this pandemic, in protests around our nation, we have to speak up and not allow this to become normalized. And Jewish Heritage Month not only allows us to recall our rich history and traditions, but it provides a good opportunity to combat hate and promote being culturally tolerant of one another. So a reason why it's particularly significant, and thank you for Mr. Blumenfield and Mr. Rue for helping to bring this forward.
Any other announcements, members? Okay, I'm going to go to Mr. Lee for an adjourning motion.
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, I'd like to adjourn today's meeting in the memory of Robert Catsby Jones, 74 years old, of Oak Park, California. He passed away into the hands of God on March 30th, 2020. He fought a valiant fight against cancer for almost 9 years. Known to his friends and family as Casey, he was the son of the late Catsby P. and Mary Tucker Jones. He is survived by his only child, Mark David Jones of Moore Park, and his daughter-in-law, Shelley Jones, and two step-granddaughters, daughters Elon and Adi Kashman. Also surviving is his former wife of 23 years, the lady we just appointed to the LEA, Miss Millie Jones of Santa Clarita, cousins in South Carolina, and stepsister and stepbrother on the East Coast, as well as a host of friends. Casey was a veteran of the Vietnam War and served 20 years in the U.S. Navy Reserve. He He was employed then by the United States Secret Service in August 1970 and retired as a senior special agent in 2002. Of his many assignments with the service, the one he valued most was serving on the protection detail for former President and Mrs. Ronald Reagan. In his leisure time, he enjoyed operating radio-controlled planes and boats with his son Mark. Later, they participated in regional billiard leagues and tournaments. Casey and Mark also shared a passion for fishing on his boat, the Island Hopper. A long resident of the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, Casey and his family were avid Redskin fans, and from living here, later Dodger fans. Due to our immediate health crisis, the celebration of Casey's life will be deferred to a later time. Any contributions in his memory may be made to the charity of your choice or to the American Cancer Society. May he rest in peace. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Mr. Wesson?
Madam President and members, it has been an extremely sad week for the Wesson family. We've had 3 losses in about a week, and I'd like to adjourn in the memory of Emmanuel Johnson Jr., who is the father of Alvinette Strong, that many of you know from my downtown office. I'd also like to adjourn in the memory of Sandra Black Walker, who is the mother of Kamani Black, who's the senior deputy at my district office. And also from the downtown office, I'd like to adjourn in the memory of Andrew's grandmother, Doris Robertson. And I just found out last night that the father of our colleague or former colleague, Jana Zarita in Compton, her father, Clarence Woods Zarita, passed away. So if we could adjourn in the memory of these good people.
Thank you, Mr. Wesson. Mr. Price?
Thank you, Madam President. Members, today I want to adjourn in the memory of Bessie Regina Norris, better known by her stage name, Betty Wright. Born in Miami, Florida, Miss Wright was the youngest of 7 children. She began her professional career at the age of 2 when her siblings formed the Echoes of Joy, a gospel group. By the age of 12, she switched from gospel to rhythm and blues and was signed to her first label, Deep City Records, after being spotted at a local talent show in Miami. Her breakthrough came at the age of 17 when she wrote Cleanup Woman, where it reached number 2 on the R&B charts, where it stayed for 8 weeks. Cleanup Woman also crossed over to the pop charts, peaking at number 6, where it stayed on the Billboard Top 100 for over 3 months and was certified gold after selling 1 million copies shortly after her 18th birthday. Ms. Wright experienced numerous other top-selling records and performed with other famed artists such as Bob Marley, Stevie Wonder, and Michael Jackson. Her influence was strong as numerous artists from multiple genres sampled her work for their own albums. Some of these artists include Mary J. Blige and even Beyonce. Ms. Wright won 1 Grammy for composing her song, Where Is the Love, in 1975. Although Ms. Wright was born and raised in Miami, she had friends all over the world as she frequently visited the mecca of the entertainment industry right here in LA. She became a dear friend of my wife and our family. She had 5 children, 4 children, Aisha McRae, Patrice Parker, Chaka Williams, and Asher Williams, who survived her, and Patrick Parker Jr., who preceded her in death. She brought positivity and joy to all those she interacted with, as she would light up any room she stepped in. Her children, family members, and friends celebrated her with a heavy heart as she passed away this past Sunday on Mother's Day. Ms. Wright's presence will be missed, however, and her influence will not be forgotten. May she rest in in peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Price. Mr. Rue?
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, I would like to adjourn today's meeting in the memory of Jerry Schneider. Jerry's name is synonymous with LA's growth. He began building when he was 19 and was overseeing construction of an apartment tower on Wilshire at the age of 90. Born on January 3rd, 1930 in Brooklyn, New York, Jerry moved to Boyle Heights with his family when he was 14. And not long after that, he began to build. After graduating from Roosevelt High School, Jerry only attended one semester at UCLA before dropping out, saying he was too restless for school. He served briefly in the Navy before starting his own company in construction and remodeling. One of his first projects was an 80-home complex in Orange County, and his work only grew from there. Over the course of his career, Jerry built thousands of homes, millions of square feet of commercial space in the Los Angeles we know today. He helped revitalize numerous communities throughout Los Angeles, and in CD4 alone, he was instrumental in the resurgence of North Hollywood, which is now in CD2. He also helped build the Miracle Mile into a hub of entertainment and culture. He built the water garden in Santa Monica, the Wilshire Courtyard in Mid-Cities, and dining and shopping and residential complexes from Westchester to Palm Springs. Jerry Schneider was nothing short of prolific, one of those legendary LA icons whose ambitions and energy seemed larger than life. Anyone who has helped shape the city over the past 70 years knew Jerry. He was kind, he was smart, and he was always excited about the future. And anyone who knows his work knows that his projects last a lifetime. Everything he did was Class A, and he could, and those who knew him knew he could be pushy at times, but you knew it was going to be good. After a short battle with cancer, Jerry passed away over the weekend at his home. He is survived by his children and children-in-law, Wendy and Toshi Nakajima, William and Martin Larson, and John and Lon and Linda Snyder, as well as 3 grandchildren, Catherine, Kevin, and Katie. May he rest in peace.
Thank you, Mr. Rue. Mr. Koretz?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask if I could be added on to that. I got a chance to work closely with Jerry Snyder when the city of West Hollywood was founded, and during the early years of cityhood, we worked closely on some projects, and he was a strong supporter of the city of West Hollywood and very helpful in its early days.
Mr. Wesson? Mr. Wesson, would you like to speak on this adjourning motion?
Yes, I'd like to make the same request that Mr. Koretz did. I had a long relationship with Jerry. Used to see him at lunch at Callender's or the pizza place on Wilshire Boulevard. And he wore, even for an elderly guy, whenever you saw Jerry, he wore the coolest shirts. He was just a determined, good guy, and he will be missed. He was a good guy. So I'd like to sign on to that journey.
Thank you, Mr. Wesson. Mr. Kokorian?
Thank you very much, Madam President. Thank you, Mr. Rue. I too would like to be included in this. Mr. Rue mentioned Jerry's role in transforming North Hollywood, and it really can't be overstated. For as much criticism as redevelopment got in many quarters in the valley for a long time, really what Jerry did in helping to create the NoHo Arts District was the model for what redevelopment can be. And it continues to benefit the whole East San Fernando Valley. So Jerry left a mark that will be enjoyed by people in the East San Fernando Valley for many generations to come. And very sorry to hear of his loss, and I'd ask to be included in this as well.
Any other members? Seeing no other adjourning motions, our meeting is adjourned. Thank you. See you tomorrow.
Right, there's always information we don't know about someone else's situation, which nowadays gets confused easily because we look at things like social media and we see everyone's photos of their family looking perfect and happy, but the reality is no one's life is perfect, and there's always stuff beneath the surface that we're not aware of. So we want to stay away from judging others in this time and hope that they do the same for us.
And that little bit of kindness can go a long way, especially when you're talking about, I know one of the fragile groups, obviously, are seniors, and this has got to be really tough for them because not only is there a health crisis, but there's also that sense of isolation because now they can't have the visits that they would have from family members or have the experience of socializing in a restaurant setting or something like that. So what are some of the things that we can do to help